This is T-Mills Productions, the first podcast. I got my guest speaker with me today from the two boys. The first boy, aka my bro. hmm And
Yeah, what's up, guys?
we're gonna talk about mostly just things off of my channel. We can also add in if you want. If we still have some downtime, we can add in some stuff from his gaming channel. But he mostly just does a bunch of Fortnite comedy slash dank memes, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, which hopefully this whole generation knows what I'm talking about when it comes to dank memes. But if we want to get straight to it, yeah, we ready?
Let's go, man. Totally.
Alrighty. So our first topic is well, I'm gonna go through the topics. So first we got just Derrick Rose in general, and then we got number two is our All Star voting. We got number three with most underrated, and I'll keep it right there for now. And then we got number four, Golden State, and I'll keep it right there for now. So for number one, we're gonna talk about our boy Derrick Rose and
Heck yeah, man.
where we think he's going in the future and stuff.
Well, as we all know, Derrick Rose has had a couple hard years last year, going from the Knicks to the Cleveland Cavaliers and had a little struggle there. And as we all know, back at this time last year, we all thought his career was kind of ending, you know?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say there was a lot of news actually that he was gonna be leaving the NBA just because he already had a shoe contract and stuff. He has money, everything. So he was actually talking about leaving the NBA and actually having an early retirement.
Yeah, and it was just more along the lines of, is it really worth trying to make a comeback? Is the burden on his family and all the recuperation really worth it? And everyone that was huge D Rose fans, like yourself, everyone kind of took a step back and was like, "Wow, there goes Seattle legacy. He's the biggest what if to ever happen." And I think this year he's really kind of turned around everything for himself.
I mean, yeah, to add on to that, like with I think just mentally he thought he was done. Physically he thought he was done. Like he didn't want to hurt himself anymore, which I think was like a big part of it. Like he didn't want to like end up doing something that would actually like wreck just his social life and stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying on that
Yeah,
part?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Like I don't know, I think that in that part like he wanted to have a normal life, and I think that in his like in his thoughts that he thought if he kept going and if he got another injury he would just regularly be done. Like dude, if he would have got another injury with with his ACL or any kind of leg injury, he would have like mentally and just physically just been done. Like right then and there, like he would have retired probably easily. But I mean, I think, man, out of nowhere this year, like first two or three games, he was eh, like he was doing good, but like I don't know where like his confidence came from. Maybe Tom Thibodeau being on there with him, like probably just talking with him and stuff. But he's coming out of nowhere. He's showing up.
Well, I think a lot of it, I mean, everything with this year has just really been a huge turnaround for him in general. Being with Jimmy Butler again and being with like former players that was with him, like Gibson as well, really kind of helped him build up his confidence like the good old days of the Bulls. And maybe when the whole situation was going on with Jimmy Butler, with the whole practicing against the first team, whatever, maybe he built his confidence up, kind of playing with Jimmy Butler again. And like you said, that first couple games, we saw him like, okay, he has a couple minutes. He's coming off the bench a little bit, and now he's coming into the role where he's starting games. He's playing over Jones. He's playing over those other big time kind of point guards that have been for the team over and over again. He's
Jeff
kind of
Teague.
yeah, Jeff Teague
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, good players, not just regular players, decent players who probably could still start. But you have Derrick Rose now.
It's not like we're frowning upon Jeff Teague or anything. It's just
Absolutely not. it just Derrick Rose has now showed up. He's back the way he used to be.
Mhm.
He's dominant now again.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Like I don't know, just with man, his stats are definitely improving from last year. Last year, I'm pretty sure I want to say he was averaging 15, and he's already almost four above that, which is pretty hard, honestly, because going game by game sometimes when you're kind of inconsistent doesn't help. But with just like all of his stats line up, he's almost back to his MVP year. He put up what was it, a 51-point game?
yeah. He was the one that came off first year of the game with a 50-some-point game. And kind of last person you expect to have a huge game like that, and kind of just really showed everybody like, hey haters, hey everyone that didn't believe in me to quit my career to stop everything. I'm back and I'm ready to play, and I think we could actually look at him to possibly going into the All-Star game this year. Don't you think? I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, like, even though I am a D Rose fan, like yes, I voted for him in the All Star game, but like that's not just because I'm a D Rose fan. Like I obviously wouldn't have voted for him if he wouldn't have had these such good stats going for him this year. And like another reason that I voted for him for the All Star game is because obviously like he's having an improved year, and he's been in the All Star games before. He knows that environment, and just seeing him come back into an All Star game, man, there's gonna be tons of people like watching just because of that. Having a comeback in the All Star, that's gonna be something to watch.
yeah, absolutely. Um, I was looking at some stats from last year. He only played in 9 games last year for Minnesota. I mean, his career, it looked like it was almost done. And the fact that, honestly, yeah, I think he should be going to the All Star game this year, or he should at least be close to where he gets the recognition for what he's done this year.
Hmm.
Whether that's most improved player, whether that is sixth man of the year, whether that is MVP. Is that a possibility? I don't know. He sure is a fan favorite right now, though, and I think there's not one person that's against him at this point. I think he's been able to cut quiet all the haters, and there's still probably some people who maybe not like him, but they have to respect the game, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, I wouldn't far stretch MVP, but I mean, I definitely would consider like most improved player or even sixth man because he was coming off the bench, and he actually still will be once Jeff Teague comes back. But I think actually right now I don't even think he's starting right now. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure actually last game I think Tyrese Jones was actually in front of him.
Yep.
I want to say, and like I think he could easily. He's already in the running for sixth man. They're like NBA, like their web pages and stuff. Like they're already talking about, like they're already showing things that like captioning it like this is why Derrick Rose should be sixth man of the year, and this is why, like showing different videos and stuff. Like they're giving like reasons, like they want him. That's the crazy part. Like the association like itself wants him.
Yeah, which I'm cool with that, but at the same time, last year I wasn't too happy with the way everyone was with him because at the same time everyone saw him last year and was like, yeah, he should stop. Yeah, it's time to be over. Yeah, no one likes him anymore. He's done. He's washed up NBA player. Now everyone is rooting for him. Everyone's on his side. Maybe that's just the way it flips because you quiet the haters down. But same time, it's kind of irritating to the point where were you guys last year? Why weren't you cheering for him last year? Why were you telling him to quit last year? Now he's doing good. Now he's made a name for himself. Why are you just now becoming part of that bandwagon? You weren't there for the actual years of the grind of the Knicks and Cleveland, and for last year end of the game against Minnesota. It's now to the point where now you're cheering for him. And where were you when times were tough? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Easily, like they don't like with what I when I like I literally watched him drafted and stuff. Like they don't like they haven't went through every single year with him like I did. and like other D Rose fans out there that are gonna be listening to this podcast, like they didn't like see like that emotion. Like you just seen like your favorite player go down that many times and just get back up and just keep grinding hard and stuff. And they didn't like they they don't know them feelings and stuff that like we had, like just wanting to see him come back, and now like being able to see him come back, like we're ready for him and stuff.
Oh yeah, it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking to see the injuries and the recurring injury and just the struggle. And now that we look back at it all, like it's all panning out, and he deserves what he's getting. You know, yesterday he made his return back to Chicago. That
Hmm.
was such an emotional in the game for anyone who's ever been a fan at all of D
Well,
Rose.
actually, and also if you didn't see on any social media or anything, they were loving it, man. They were giving MVP chants like left and right, and like the whole entire audience was into it.
Yeah, and you know what? It's about time Chicago has really turned around and embraced D Rose for what he's done,
Hmm.
and embraced for him everything he's given that city. You know,
Yeah.
youngest MVP to come out right there, show him what's going on, show him the grind, show the love, and it was kind of nice to see that even himself was super happy about.
Yeah, he was even smiling.
Yeah, and him himself said it was nice to just reminisce to everything he's done for that city and kind of look back, and it was all okay. You know, it was all good. He was happy the way everything was.
Now, do you think that like this is gonna be a comeback like altogether for him, or do you think it's just a comeback season, or what do you see for his future?
I would like to say he could now continue on a consistent basis to keep on working the way he has been to keep improving his game. Because no doubt he still is very athletic. He's still very shifty around the
I was gonna
rim.
say, and same part is he's still improving. Like he just got his like 3-pointer basically this year. Like he wasn't consistent with that at all, and now he's actually blowing it away with the 3-pointer this year. I uh I can't look up what he's averaging right now, but like with his 3-point percentage, it's I'm pretty sure it's went up by like probably almost 10% from the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I may be wrong on this. Someone could background check me if they want to, if they really want to. But I'm almost positive he is leading the league in most spots for consistent high percentage in most areas, except 3 point beyond the 3 point line. Anything inside the 3 point range and not inside the box, he is leading the league in field goal percentage.
Really?
Yes, and that's what you know. It just his shooting has become such a weapon of his,
Hmm.
and he still has that athletic ability around the rim. He could change up shots midair. You know, he could drive towards the rim and still be a threat to any big man on the court as well as any guard. You know, no matter your speed, he's a 30-man-year-old and he's still gonna outrun you every single time if you don't keep your feet going.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the great defenders of the league, you know, have trouble still keeping up with him, and that's why I think if he keeps it at it, this could not just be a comeback season. This could be a comeback kind of career, and maybe it slowed down more towards 2 or 3 years from now when he gets a little older, like it does with any other player. But I think for now he might have another couple of years where he can really show that he belongs in this league.
Well, he is at 30 years old right now, currently, and I think he probably has a good like I would say, not saying he's going to, but he has a good probably 2 to 3 more years to show up, because like that's not very old to be in this league. 30 years old is not very old at all.
Well, not anymore. You know, maybe back in the '80s or the '90s, where people would be like, "Oh, it's crazy for you to play." You know, when you're past
Well, now
33
that
or
we got Vince
34.
Carter.
Yeah, now you got players like Vince Carter, you got Dirk, LeBron James. These players who are keep going up in age, and they're still showing up and still showing that they
Yeah,
can still
exactly.
play. And it's getting to the point. Zach Randolph is another one. Players who can still show and produce that they still belong in the league and that they're still able to keep on grinding and make effort for their teams,
Well, I mean,
respectively.
right now, like, okay, so he's 30. Average age in the NBA right now is 25.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's not like that's not very far off. Like he could still not. I'm not saying he could be in his prime, but he could show moments that he could still be in his prime.
Yeah.
Like he could
Yeah.
still show like that, like old MVP D Rose that we know. Like
Yeah. And like I said, he might not win MVP this year, but he definitely deserves recognition across the board for everything he's done. And
mhm,
hopefully he keeps grinding throughout this year. We'll all be watching very closely on what goes on throughout this year. That's for sure. And hopefully we'll see that he brings his Minnesota Timberwolves hopefully some kind of playoff run.
that'd be actually really cool. And I'm
And
not even. I'm being honest about that one. That would actually be cool.
we all know D Rose in the playoffs is a whole different D Rose.
I was gonna say last year came out with some freaking crazy two-hander that out of nowhere where no one even expected him to be getting up anymore.
Yeah. He's probably one of the most clutcher players in the league still, even with his age, even with his time, in Chicago, what he's done.
Mhm. Well, he's being clutch off the bench. That's the insane part. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And there's not a lot of players who could do that. A couple other ones that
mhm.
are like that, like D Wade. But once again, he's coming to retire too. All the good ones who come off the bench, who are clutch like that, you're starting to lose those kind of players.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, alrighty. So I think that's gonna conclude what we got on Derrick
Yeah,
Rose.
absolutely. Yeah,
I think we
keep
talked
grinding,
about
D
basically
Rose.
everything. I think he's gonna have. I do believe, and I'm calling it on this podcast. He will get. I'm gonna do a LeVar Ball right here. He will get Sixth Man of the Year. If not that, he's gonna get MIP. Calling it on this podcast. All right, so we're gonna move on to our All Star votings and who who do we vote for and who do we want like to get in there?
Yeah, I'm gonna say right now, Kemba Walker deserves to be in this year. He shouldn't be voted on from some kind of commission group or whatever. He should be voted on by the fans.
Mm-hmm.
He's been working forever now. I mean, there's not a lot of years where he hasn't produced for Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
everyone just started noticing when he had those 3 or 4 games with, the 50 points and then the 40 points and then the 30 some point games and then so on and so forth. He produces night in, night out. People always overlooked it. And I think it's about time people start calling out his name to be something special.
He yeah, even not even like I'm not even close to even looking at the Charlotte Hornets and stuff like you are, but like you can see it all over social media and stuff. Like they're loving him already now too, and like he was even doing this like last year, and like he was barely getting recognition for it, and he right now he's averaging insane numbers. I currently don't know what it is right now. If you want to look that up and see, but like I'm pretty sure he's probably averaging close to 25 or 30 points.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a whole lot of help on that Charlotte team.
I was gonna actually mention that like he's basically almost the only one besides maybe some role players like probably Jeremy
Jeremy
Lamb.
Lamb, Cody Zeller, Malik Monk, but he does everything for the team. He is for the team.
He's putting up. If I do stand correct on this, uh, I'm pretty sure if
Well, right now he's averaging a total of 25 points per game. Okay, the lowest season he's had for points per game was his rookie season. He was only averaging 14 points per game. Other than that, he's been averaging his whole entire career 21 points per game. I mean, he's been inside the NBA now for 7 seasons.
hmm
He's been the star for the Charlotte team.
Well, I was gonna say, even if you think about that, dude, he's putting up almost close to a quarter of the team points.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he is grinding. He is showed up this year phenomenally. His field goal percentage are high. His 3-point percentage is 35%. I mean,
That's still pretty decent though for.
That's not horrible, but it's good. Especially for someone who's putting up at least
that many.
25 shots a game.
Yeah.
So it comes to the point though where it's just really it's his time. It's time to call his number.
Mm-hmm. So, and I also think, like, coming off of him, probably, well, obviously Derrick Rose.
We already talked about that.
Yeah.
We know Derrick Rose should be part of that. I mean, obviously we can't forget Curry. Curry is still putting up amazing numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he should obviously still be an all-star. I would like to say though, to be a point guard in this league right now is some of the toughest work to do. It's very point guard oriented. You got Dame Lillard, Russell Westbrook, Stephon Curry, Kemba Walker, Kyrie Irving, John Wall. The list can go on and on and on because the offenses are so valued around these point guards these days.
Yeah. They're the king of the court, basically.
Yeah, and that's why De'Aaron Fox, even him, he's shown such an improvement.
Ooh, yeah, he's stepping up big time.
And that's something I think a lot of it is mostly because the offenses are ran through point guards. And when you have a talent like him, it shines.
Yeah.
So I think that's something I've kind of come to learn too. Other players that deserve to be in, obviously KD. Mm-hmm. Can't argue with that. LeBron James, as much as I don't like LeBron, you got to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, I understand.
He's still putting up great numbers. He's still putting up good numbers. I voted for Marc Gasol.
Yeah.
Marc Gasol is having a great season as a center, of course. Andre Drummond, you can't forget about him. Always leading the league in rebounds. Always leading the league in offensive rebounds.
He's also right now he's leading in second chance points.
Second chance points, doubles. I mean, there's not a lot of things that he doesn't do night in night out. He's very consistent.
Yeah.
Him and Blake Griffin are grinding well in Detroit. That's for sure.
Yeah. Another one that I forgot to even vote for. So if anyone, when they listen to this, vote for him is Zach LaVine.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot all about him.
40-point games, 30-point games. He's scoring high.
He's not really like showing it with his team. He's definitely showing it with his stats. He's right now 14th in the whole league with almost 24 points. So I mean, he's definitely showing his stuff.
And it's unfortunate that the team that he's on is having kind of a more rebuild kind of position right now.
I mean, no matter what, you're gonna have them like the teams in the league that have those. Like, you're not gonna have every single team that's 500. So.
Well, exactly, and that's what I don't think. Just because a team is under 500, that doesn't mean that the player that's on the team does not deserve recognition. Like Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Devin Booker is another player in the West. He should be shooting guard on that team. It shouldn't always be Klay Thomas. I love Klay Thomas to death, but he's very inconsistent. Player that's not inconsistent, who comes in a lot, night in, night out, as long as he's not injured, is Devin Booker. Mm-hmm. He's a terrific talent for the Suns team. And if they keep working at it, you got Ayton there, you got Booker there, you got this young talent who can create something strong as long as they know to keep the goal, and that's to win and to keep working. So he's another player I voted for personally. Mike Conley, I love him to death. Like I said, this league is so gathered around these point guards. It's so tough to say Mike Conley's better than John Wall.
I would say you only got so many positions that you can put the point guards.
So. Mike Conley's better than Kyrie Irving. I mean, you can't say that stuff. He's a great player, but does he still deserve recognition? Of course. Does he deserve to be on the All-Star team? That's just one of those kind of questions I can't really answer necessarily.
Well, I mean, yeah, you got the problem of like you got obviously what you said. You got Steph Curry ahead of him. You got Damian Lillard ahead of him, and he's in the Western Conference. So I mean,
Yeah,
those two are already be ahead of him
exactly.
on the roster. So you got Kemba Walker ahead of him. He's not. There's no way unless they do the captains again. He's not
Yeah.
going to end up
If it's
even
East
on
and
the
West,
roster.
then if it's East and West, it's not gonna happen. If it's the captains, then maybe. But
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not even on that one because
another young talent that needs to be in there though this year, Luca.
see now the only reason I say that is I don't like seeing rookies in the
Oh,
All Star game.
I get that. I honestly get that. But if he's giving that much of a talent to that team, they've having one of the better records they've had in a while. Um, I don't know if I could say he doesn't deserve to not be in the All Star kind of lookout. Maybe.
hmm Well, if you're gonna put anybody from that's a veteran that usually is in All Star games, if you're gonna put anybody from that team, I would say probably either Harrison Barnes or
DeAndre Jordan would be another one
yeah,
I would
DeAndre
say too.
Jordan. Which
Harrison Barnes.
I think DeAndre's already going to be in there to be honest, just because of his he's a big name and stuff. So they're gonna want him in the All Star game.
Well, and it's tough to say because Harrison Barnes deserves the credit, but he never gets it.
Yeah,
He never gets it,
which
and
we'll talk about that in a second with.
exactly, and I honestly, Luca is the big name right now, obviously because he does all the cool step backs and the 0.6 shot, to tie up the game at the
Just
end.
the playmaking. He's
He's
their playmaker
a great
right now.
playmaker. He's a walking highlight reel, as they say.
The young Dirk that they've been looking for.
Exactly, and Dirk just said today actually, if anyone in this league is known by their first name within a couple months, they're obviously doing something right. Now I kind of think that just because Doc Nick is kind of hard to say, but Dirk has a point. We all call him Dirk for a reason. We don't call him Dirk Nowitzki. We call him Dirk because he's that big of a name. You already know who you're talking about when you hear the word Dirk. When you hear the name Luca, you already know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's showing on up though, and I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see maybe not All Star this year, but we'll see when it comes around.
Also, I'm thinking another person is coming from the Motor City. Getting moved is Tobias on the Clippers.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. He deserves to get looked at for it. That's for sure.
stepped up on that team big time.
Now, you have players for that. You have, I mean, if you want to call it DeMar DeRozan as a small forward, some people do, some people don't. He's a player that people. I'm curious if he's going to be in this All Star season. I think he should,
Yeah.
but you never know how voting goes.
Well, because you always got when people vote, like when I was on that page, and then I look at these stats now, you tend to forget about some of these names. Like when you're voting,
Oh yeah,
you only get what was it like? Is it 10 votes or is it
you
nine
get five
votes?
from each conference.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of you tend to start forgetting some of these people, and you're like, oh crap, because they're showing up really well, and you're just like, oh well, we could have a problem here because I might have actually voted for the wrong person because
Yeah, exactly. And like Tobias Harris, I think he does deserve to be there. He's leading this team, this Clippers team, to a playoff run. I think.
yeah,
I know it's kind of early to say that, but he's getting there. Another player that probably will definitely see there is probably James Harden,
oh for
no
sure.
doubt. Um, Another player that is always on the line for it because it's so filled with it is Russell Westbrook. I think he obviously deserves to be there. Paul
Anthony
George. Paul George, obviously. I mean, if anyone deserves to,
saves what in his last 5 games, two of those games I think were 40.
yeah,
One of them
he
were 30.
has been going off.
He's right now 10th in the league, averaging wise. He's at 26 points.
I mean, he's another player that I think people forget that he still exists on that Thunder team. It's Thunder is probably always going to be Westbrook's team until he's gone because he just puts up triple doubles. But you tend to forget that the other person that scores all those points is Mr. Paul George.
Yeah.
Last 3 games have been 43, 31, 28. Every single one of them have been double doubles with rebounds.
Yeah.
And at least 3 steals a game.
He's getting these double doubles even with Steven Adams,
Exactly.
who's also at the same time putting up the double doubles. So he's not like.
Exactly.
And you got freaking. I didn't even think about that. Russell Westbrook, who's putting up the triple doubles. So
exactly.
like, my God.
And that's what Steven Adams, he is having a pretty decent year too. But we're not talking about him right now. We're talking obviously about all stars. The all stars. LaMarcus Aldridge. Will he be on there? Will he be on that team? He's not having his best season. He's averaging 18 points right now. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. Is he going to be necessarily on the team? I'm not sure. I personally don't think so. I think he's kind of slowly moving out of his prime a little bit. 33 years of age. He's getting up there, kind of.
I honestly didn't even know he was that old, to be honest. I forgot he was even. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot he was that old.
Anthony Davis, he'll be on.
Yeah, obviously. I already mentioned that.
Anthony Davis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, no doubt.
Thinking about Tim Hardaway.
Tim Hardaway though is another player, just like Harrison Barnes, that no one pays attention to. And especially with the Knicks being such a huge market, you would think more people will maybe pay attention to them. But like I said, a lot of people kind of tend to forget. He's averaging 20 points per game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists.
Thing is, he's in the same boat as Zach LaVine. Like, he's putting up the numbers, but his team is just not getting the dubs like he wants it. Like, he's definitely putting up the numbers. He's totally clutch. He'd be insane to watch in the All-Star game. But
absolutely. And that's I think is the problem is you have those kind of players who are putting up great numbers, but you just don't notice them because that's what people don't care about. Losing teams. People want to see the winning teams. They want to see those star players on those winning teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's like big markets like the Lakers. Lakers could lose 10 in a row, but you'll still hear about LeBron James every day. These are the players who need to grind and grind and grind and grind. You won't see no matter what. As long only if their teams were to have great seasons. And I think that's something that we need to kind of take a step back and look at.
Yeah.
When everyone's shouting for Jason Tatum, he needs to be in this All-Star game.
Mm-hmm. I still think personally.
I don't think so.
I think personally he still can have good years, and he's young. So he has his times. He has his times to be in the All-Star game.
He's only 20 years old. He's only averaging 16 points per game.
Exactly.
6 rebounds, 1 steal.
I sure hope this ain't his prime, because if this is his prime, then he definitely should not be in the upcoming future All-Star games, because that's like old man, aka like D Rose last year stats. Like, if you're like, nah, that should not be. Like, I realize he's young and like they want to give him a chance, but like that's like saying like let's put like somebody like, I don't know.
Well, that's like
putting Murray or someone like
exactly. Someone that has explosive game, but is not as much in the stats as they want to think. And I think that's the thing people kind of tend to forget is he's not. I mean, yeah, he's doing well, but
not All-Star caliber.
Not All-Star caliber, absolutely not. And Karl Anthony Towns is cat. Is he going to be in the All-Star game, averaging 21 points, 11 assists, 11 rebounds, and 2.5 assists?
God, it's so hard to just.
And that's what it's hard to say.
How many people can he have per position? Is it 2 or 3?
Well, you could have up to 15 people on an all-star roster.
Well,
So
that would depend though.
it's
You think that they go by position, or you think that they just go by
well,
like
usually
who's
they
on the
have
team?
two on one position, and then after that, the other rest of them are just whoever's on the team.
Mhm.
So, well, like Drummond, you could say, well, Drummond, he's only averaging, 18 points per game. So why would he be put below Cat? Well, that's because he's also averaging 15.4 rebounds per game,
Mhm.
1.5 steals per game, 2 blocks per game. He's having a pretty freaking great season. 50%, 50% from the field.
Well, you got to think also. You got more than just the All Star game. You got the Rising Star game. So I
Exactly.
mean, that's what I'm
Players
saying
like
with Luca. So
players like players like De'Aaron Fox, players like Luca, players like Jason Tatum. If they don't get in this All Star game, they at least have that to go look forward to. Another player that probably will be in that people probably are all voting for, and I think you'll know what I'm saying. Here's the point guard. He's up and rising.
Colin Sexton.
Not Colin Sexton. No, Ben Simmons.
Oh, you're talking for
All
the All
Star
Star
game.
game.
Everyone's gonna cheer for him to win. But guess what?
Uh,
He's only averaging 60 points per game. He's averaging 9 rebounds and 8 assists. Yeah, that's good all around good basketball. Is that all star caliber though? I don't think so.
I mean, also he's I I'm pretty sure he's not even in like I'm pretty sure he's not even in top 100 for his field goal percentage. Like he's not a very consistent player in that way. Also, like he his 3 point is god awful. I don't think
Well,
he's even shot a
his
3 pointer.
his 3-point percentage is awful. His field goal percentage, it is high. It is high. He's up there. He's at 58%.
What is he?
But
See him, my
here's the
bad.
thing. He is not he's not a scorer. He's a playmaker. That's what he is. He's
Flasher.
and that's another thing is with this league, you have, like I said, the point guard position is so full. You can't tell me you rather have Ben Simmons go in front of Kyrie Irving,
Or
right?
even in front of like
John
who in the
Wall
East.
or Kemba Walker. You know, all these players in the East, all these point guards. I mean,
Is he a point guard?
he's considered a point guard. He's considered a shooting guard. He's considered a small forward. He's considered 1,000 different positions.
Well, even if you put him in the small forward position for the East, you've got tons of talent in front of him. Even with that, you
Well,
like
exactly. You still have Giannis, and you
mhm,
still have Kawhi Leonard. If you want to put him as small forward, Kawhi Leonard, he's going to be in the All Star game,
mhm.
no doubt. Um, Now another player, Kawhi's partner in crime, Kyle Lowry. He's having a tough season, a little bit.
Yeah,
14 points per game, 4 rebounds, 10 assists.
which I mean, everyone. I hope everyone kind of seen this coming because he's kind of stepping out of his prime. He's definitely getting a heck of a lot older. What is
Yeah,
he?
he is 32 years old. He'll be turning 33 this year.
Which I mean, it's not old, but definitely like that's what we were saying with Derrick Rose. Is once he turns 33, like 34 around there, that's when you start kind of, unless like you're freaking LeBron James or whatnot, like that's when
Well,
you start kind of calming down, letting other young talent like that's coming up on the team kind of slowly start taking over.
yeah, and that's what he's having. He has good games in a row, like the
I was
last
gonna say
three.
he's still averaging four, like that's still pretty
Yeah,
dang good for
and
being on a team
his
with that
last
much
three
talent.
games, he has had 20 points, 23, and 21. So not horrible, but he's not consistent as like he much must be used to. This new offensive scheme with Kawhi is a little different than what he's used to.
I was gonna say he's still got Kawhi and like he's got other people that are contributing, so that it's kind of like the checks and balances, like I always talk to you about. Like he's letting other people kind of take over for him. Like he's kind of he's being a okay, obvious. He's being a teammate. So like he's got Serge Ibaka. and Kawhi Leonard, who are in front of him.
He doesn't have to put the whole team on his back.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to get to.
And that's what, I think players that have to put their team on the back, that's who we look at a lot too. Kind of like Damian Lillard or CJ McCollum.
Walker.
And Walker. Are those players, are they good to be going to the All-Star game, or should they still be overlooked? I think Damian Lillard should be going All-Star game too. Once again, same old conversation though. Point guards rule the league right now. If we were to look back in 2000s, power forwards were ruling the league. You had Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett, Chris Bosh. That was the part of the league then. Now it's point guards.
Big men were.
It was big men, Shaq, or Aldridge. You have all these big players. That was that era. Now we're back into the point guard era, and it's kind of not fair to them guys, because you could tell they all deserve to be recognized, but there's only so many spots.
It's like they're trying to make a comeback by adding like the 3-point into their game now, and they're trying to add more like ball handling. Like they're trying to kind of pick up with the guards, but like it's a little harder when you're trained at such a young age to. I think it's changing a little bit more, but like probably like a couple of years ago, you were trained just to kind of be like an anchor inside the box and kind of wait for your time to shine when you got the touches. Like nowadays, I think they're trying to add in the high school and even in the NBA, like they're trying to add in like that pick and roll, like where you get out to the 3-pointer, and they're trying to add in the isolation now for the big men where they have like their like ball handling and all of that, etc.
Well, like I said, the center position has really developed, changed a lot. Offenses have changed a lot. You don't run the offense through the big men anymore. You run it through your guards. Yeah. And now you have players like Joakim Noah. He spreads the floor. Also, he should be in the All-Star game. Argue me that one. I dare you. He's doing such a great job with that Denver team. Everyone still sleeps on the team, and they're second in the West right now. Let's get that straight. They could beat the Golden State Warriors, in my opinion. They can. But Joakim Noah is another player. Boogie Cousins, DeMarcus Cousins, someone who could spread the floor. Anthony Davis could spread the floor. Big man could still spread the floor. And
the only problem with the Joker, let's just say because I really, it's hard to say his name, but Jokic, there we go. He's not very. He doesn't so he puts up the numbers, but is he gonna be like that spectacular, like that, like wow, when like you like watch him in the All-Star game? Like that's also one thing you want to pay attention to is like, are you gonna see like that like awesome athleticness, like those crazy dunks or like those? I guess you like could see those step back threes and stuff, but like, are you gonna see like those like spotlight moments? Because that's the entertainment of the All-Star game. So
I think that's part of the reason why people still don't pay attention to Denver, is because they don't have players who make explosive plays. They just have great team basketball. So throw him inside of not his team. Is he going to be able to perform? Right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
All right. So I think we should move on here.
Yep. So the next one is.
So all I'm saying really quick here.
Yeah.
I should say, make sure you guys get out and vote for All-Star. Every vote is something different. Everything's different, special. That's how you get your name out for who you really want in the All-Star game. And there's a lot of good choices.
Oh yeah, plus you get free tickets. So yeah, don't sue me, NBA, for trying to sponsor them or anything. But yeah, you get free tickets to the All-Star game actually. So
you have a chance to get.
Yeah. My bad.
Yes. Yeah.
But hopefully it's me. But I'm not gonna. All right, anyways, question 3. So, most underrated player from different teams. So first of all, we're gonna start out with a little more like inside the shadows team. We're gonna start out with the Brooklyn Nets and how we think of them. Like, what's their like who? Let's just say like let's start out with who's like the players that like you think of when you first think of the Brooklyn Nets?
Um, well, obviously, you think of Spencer Dinwiddie having a great season, or more along the lines of D'Angelo Russell.
D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you think of players like him. I think players who you don't really think of who do a great job. Karis LeVert, he's injured right now. He'll be coming back soon, but talk about a breakout season for him. People still kind of thought he was under the radar. He didn't really pan out to what everyone thought he was going to be, and now he's just becoming the player that everyone wants him to be.
Well, if you do remember, I think I talked about Karras his rookie year, and
Yeah,
I was actually in this very place that we are right now, but I was already talking about him, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, this kid's gonna like he was having 15 to 20 point games his rookie year, just like not like very consistent with it, but definitely like those like games that you were like, oh yeah, like this kid, if he starts doing this consistently, he's gonna end up like he's gonna go and do big things.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think he's a player who's just starting to show up. I think another player I really like to see. I think he's going to have better seasons the years to come is Jared Allen.
Mm.
I I love his defensive play. I love defense in NBA to start, and to
Mm-hmm.
watch him, be able to block some of the greater players in this league. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Andre Drummond or Rudy Gobert or Eris Cancer. These players
Was
who,
that him that blocked LeBron, or
yep, yep,
was that
he was
him?
one of the ones that
Yeah, I
blocked
thought
LeBron
so.
too, and he's one of the only few to ever do that.
I
For
think
dunk
I think
wise.
nine I think 9 players have only done it,
Yep.
and now he's part of that.
If when non-players are being able to stop LeBron's dunking, you know, and I tell you what, I think LeBron next time he tries to go for dunk, he's gonna be looking out for him. That's for sure.
Probably
So I think he's another player that people forget about. Another player I know you love, Joe Harris.
our white boy on the team. he, which okay, I'm gonna help out a little bit on this one. Like just even last night against your good old Charlotte Hornets,
Yep.
he went all clutch on him, scoring 27 points. And like this just isn't a breakout game for him. Like he's averaging almost close to 14 points now,
Yeah.
and he's also averaging, I do believe, close to 4 rebounds, close to 3 steals. Like he's having a breakout season, and he's still actually, I'm pretty sure he's actually still pretty young. I want to say I think he's, if I do stand correct, he is. Let's see here, 27. Like he's still a really young player. He's only been in the NBA for 4 years now, two being on the Cleveland and his two prior years being on the Nets. So I mean, he hasn't been here for long, and like if he keeps putting these up, and if they're looking to have him like stay in the Brooklyn Nets, like he could definitely be a contender like on that team.
Oh
Right
yeah.
now, I'm pretty sure he's a starter actually, just because Karis LeVert's out, but he's definitely still like he obviously still carrying them. He had that clutch layup that won the game against Charlotte.
Yeah. And that's what I don't want to take away too much from Spencer Dinwiddie. He's still
Oh
underrated.
yeah, definitely
People will
underrated.
still look at him as a star. Um, he's definitely been having great seasons. Last 2 seasons, being away from the Pistons, he's been able to develop in his own player. Um, which Pistons were dumb to get rid of him, if you ask
Okay,
me.
I knew you mentioned that.
But I think what we need to not forget is there's a lot of young talent coming up on this Nets team,
Definitely.
and it only gets better with time. So if you're a Nets fan, be ready. Stay on your grind because this team could be good in a couple years.
And hopefully they just don't make any dumb decisions by trading
Yeah.
anybody, because player development, even like nowadays league, is very big. You got the G League who
Oh yeah.
helps out big time.
Oh yeah.
And
Absolutely.
just with a lot of these, like you're seeing it now with Sacramento Kings. And we were saying this last year that they were going to come out of nowhere because they were
Yeah.
young and they had a bunch of players coming up.
Slowly starting to create a team like,
We
with
can talk about them now, actually.
yeah,
For
leading into our next team, right? So we have like last year we were talking about this. Buddy Hield, Darren Fox, Willie Cauley Stein, and now you add in Bagley to
yep,
that.
Bogdanovich.
Add in Shepard. These players who can score. Macklemore. Players
Mm-hmm.
who can score all over the court. They're not
Not
just one player. Kufis, great rebounder, great scorer inside. It's starting to turn into this team that is a threat all around the the court, throughout all around the arc. There's not an area where one player cannot not shoot, and they have speed. They were one of the slowest teams last year in the league. They were the slowest team in the
well,
league
mainly
last year.
because it's. I'm not gonna say any names, but Zach Randolph.
It was Zach Randolph, Vince Carter. Those two slow guys.
Yeah.
But one thing that we don't see is the kind of veteran leadership that those two definitely brought onto that team. You know, Zach
Mm-hmm.
Randolph knew what it was to grind. He knew what it was to be in hardships. With the Grizzlies, and he knew how it was to also be um, a very strong player for young guys. He was surrounded by that in Memphis,
Mm-hmm.
and to have a coach like David Yeager for them, uh, coming from Grizzlies, who had a very strong playoff, time with Vince and
Oh yeah,
with Randolph
and
and
especially in
with
the
Gasol.
late mid 2000s. Yeah, definitely
Yeah, like he knows how it is, and
when they were in their prime.
he can help those kids, become a playoff team because he's been there. He knows what he got to do to get
Mm-hmm.
there. He's really helped this young Sacramento's team grow up. So who's
Fast.
underrated? Who's underrated on the Sacramento Kings? The whole team.
Yeah, yeah.
There's not one player you could point at and say, "Well, he's underrated." Or he's underrated. I mean, Buddy Hield, he's probably the most overhyped player. De'Aaron Fox, I guess you could say, is overhyped too. I mean,
Yeah,
is
he's a little,
hyped.
no, he is a little overhyped, but I mean, he's still freaking young, so you can't really call him out on that.
Not overhyping him because he's not kind. He's kind of good. You're overhyping him because he's good, and
Hmm.
people are just excited to see young talent again. You know,
I mean, I could see some players that would be considered underrated. Like you got Bogdanovich, who definitely
Bogdanovich,
does,
yeah,
who definitely doesn't like he does, but he doesn't get as much recognition as the prior like players that you just read, like that you just named off. Like he definitely doesn't get that attention, and it's only his second year, just like De'Aaron, and he's not getting like as much attention as I believe that he should get. And you
yeah.
also got um Bjelica.
Oh
Bjelica.
yeah, yep.
Yeah,
Great big guy that could score all over the court too. You know,
exactly.
um, and another one, Iman Shepard. I mean, he might not put up all the numbers for him, but he can definitely put up numbers.
So for coming off the bench, he
Like coming off the bench, he's scoring 10 points per game.
yeah,
And
exactly.
he has good games, and he knows how to run the pace and run the
He
court.
might not be the smartest veteran, but he's still a veteran. He still knows like the NBA. Now I wouldn't say from inside out, but like he's been in the game. Like he
Yeah,
knows what's up. Like even though he hasn't had a good past with being consistent and stuff, but he any veteran in this league knows how the game is played. Like they can give that heads up and stuff. And going back to like Bielicia, he's having some breakout games also. Like even though he may be only averaging 11 points right now, he like he's had some breakout games. He's almost even averaging a he's almost averaging one block per game. He is averaging close to 46% in the 3 point, and he's averaging close to 50% in just regular field goal percentage. And
yeah,
he's having a good season. Like he's had a couple 20 to 25 point games already. Like it's not like I'm just trying to BS here. Like he's having a good season.
Yeah, absolutely. And like another team that we're going to talk about today also was Orlando Magic.
Mhm.
You know,
They don't
obviously
get.
the first thought you think of is Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
Do you
Just
think of
cause.
Aaron Gordon because of his great athletic ability, or do you think of him just because he could dunk? You know, people tend to forget he can just play great basketball altogether.
Yeah.
Which, so he's probably the most known player on that team.
I just saw Obama just because he was
Obama.
drafted and stuff, but
Yeah, and I think Obama is a load of crap right now. I think he's so overhyped as a player.
trying to call you out, bro, but definitely.
You know,
Yeah.
but I think players who are underrated on that team, I think the first one that comes to my mind is Terrence Ross. Terrence Ross is a player. He's young. I mean, he's not young. He's far from young.
I was gonna say I beg to differ on that one, but
he's gonna turn 28 this year, but he's still averaging 13
actually
points per game.
that's younger than what I thought though. I honestly
Really?
thought he was 32 or 33. Huh.
Yeah, I mean he's not necessarily super old, but he's definitely not young.
Yeah.
Compared to what he's had a pretty long career already. Playing for Toronto, was one of the leading players in Toronto.
Playing in Toronto, being in what was it, 2 dunk contests now?
Yeah, and he just overall, I mean, he's been great for what he is, and then as part of this young Orlando team, he's been a great build around. And let's talk about his teammate. I struggle with his name, but
Nikola Ikovic.
Yes.
It is.
Talk about a player. Talk about a player who's under the radar. Is it because no one could say his name? Maybe. But I talk about a player who is 20 points per game, 12 rebounds per game.
Double.
Yeah, four assists, 1 steal, 1 block.
My
52% from the field goal.
40, almost 40% from the 3-point.
Yeah, I mean, he's great. Nothing else to say. He's led his team Montenegro in the Olympics to great playoff runs for them too. I mean, he knows how to play, and he's been in the league for 7 years. He's 28 years old. That's what shocks me most. And no one ever thinks about him.
But even his career stats, his career stats shows that he's been averaging 15. So that doesn't like he.
Yeah, 15 and 10. He's averaging a double-double.
Yeah.
And I think everyone overlooks him, and I'm not really sure why. Because he knows he can shoot from everywhere. he can just run the court himself. And it's just really a shame that players like him are under the radar, because he should be more in the talks for an all-star run this year.
I was gonna mention that.
But he's not gonna be. He's not, and it's a shame
because just like Jovic, he doesn't have that like.
He doesn't have the huge highlights.
The spotlight, the spotlight.
And that's what's the shame is it shouldn't all be about highlights. It should be about who can play basketball the best. And I think like him and Jokic, they could play some of the best basketball in this league right now.
Well, yeah, in the consideration of centers, yeah, and big men in general.
And I think that's just the way it is gonna be for him too. Another player on that team that I hope to see that does well. Never know if he's going to, but DJ Augustine.
He just had a game.
Exactly.
I think it was a day ago.
And he pops up here and there under the radar. You'll see him here and there. But all in all, people forget about him. He's averaging 10 points per game, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. But like you said, he had a game yesterday, 27 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists. Where do you hear about that? You don't hear about that. No one talks about DJ Augustine's game. They're all busy talking about, LeBron or KD or some kind of other drama going around the league.
Well, the big names, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The big market names. What's gonna get clicks to their articles, basically.
Yeah.
Clickbait. clickbait stuff. So that's another team I think we brought up. And then who's the last team for the day?
Well, no, bro. Wait now. You totally forgot about somebody.
Who did I forget about?
Sadly, dude, you totally forgot about somebody, which really kind of like Evan Fournier, bro.
Oh my gosh! See, and this is the point I'm trying to make: is players like them get overlooked because they're not winning games, but they're still having amazing seasons.
Let's say right now he's averaging almost 16 points, almost 1 steal, almost 4 assists, and he's just in his last 3 games he has put up 24, 17, and 16.
Yeah, and like I just said, I would not have thought about him, and it's because those are those names that no one talks about, and they still have really well games, and no one ever talks about them, and it's kind of ridiculous, you know. We're not gonna be able to fix the NBA, obviously, or how people look at the NBA.
Oh, because you always get the bandwagons.
Yeah,
That's never gonna stop.
exactly.
Like
So
even I'm on the considered the D Rose bandwagon, but I mean like it's not like we're not saying it's bad in any way. We're just saying like that definitely underdogs are not looked at a lot in this league.
and you always have people. I'm sure there's fans of Evan Fournier, and there's fans of the players that we talk about. There's always gonna be those big fans. I'm a huge fan of like Michael K. Gilchrist, but I guarantee you're not gonna hear a bunch of different things on Michael K. Gilchrist ever. You know, it's
No,
just
definitely not.
that's the way it is. And it's always those big market names. So obviously, yeah, I miss Evan Fournier. The player I would say at most he's either the most underrated player on that team. I would say.
Say probably yeah. I wouldn't go so far. Yeah, I thought you were gonna go far and
No,
say
I'm not gonna go with the big.
game. I was like,
No,
whoa.
not the big one. Next, we got the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, obviously you have Kemba Walker. I mean, not Kemba Walker. Giannis Antetokounmpo,
Yeah,
MVP candidate.
yeah.
But
You got
it's
who else?
MVP candidates always have something we like to call glue guys. Glue guys, glue guys, glue guys. Glue guys are the guys who are like those role players who can create him to be that better player,
Hmm.
right? So players like that. I mean, the first person you probably think of on that team other than him is what? Chris Middleton, maybe Malcolm Brogdon. You know,
Eric Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe. Players you probably
Lopez.
don't think about, huh?
I was saying no. I was just saying Brooke Lopez is someone that you think of.
Yeah, and those are the ones you usually think of, right?
Yeah.
And I think people tend to forget about Chris Middleton.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Honestly,
I don't really think that like it's kind of a mix on that one, but I would say that most of the likely people don't think of Chris Middleton.
I think people think about him maybe as along the lines of they know the team well enough because they're a good team
It's
this year.
usually but it's usually like state, like people like either like really NBA lovers would know about him, and like that like people like me that like know every single player in the NBA like in and out, like they would know about him, and like people that are local to Milwaukee probably know about him, but like
Right, people who follow the Bucks,
yeah, like other fans though
no one's
aren't really
thinking
gonna
about
take
Chris
him into
Middleton.
consideration.
No one's thinking about the guy who's averaging 17 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, who has been to the 3-point contest a couple times, right?
I think I think he's been to a 3-point contest.
Yeah, I know he has been, and that's what people never think about him though. People never think about the great career he's had in Milwaukee and how much he's been part of this whole run with Milwaukee too. It's not just Giannis. Giannis is obviously the star. If anyone who could dunk from the 3-point line is going to be the star. Let's make that clear. But I think people need to take a step back and really look into players like Chris Middleton, even Brooke Lopez is someone that everyone thinks about, but he's not averaging humongous numbers.
Well, the only reason that a lot of people still think about him is because he did so well on the Nets, and
Exactly.
he was with well I don't even was he with LeBron James on the Lakers?
Nope.
I think
great
so.
with it, but he's only averaging 12 points.
Yeah.
Four rebounds, 1 assist.
Yeah.
He's not putting up humongous numbers. Putting up blocks, he's putting up 3-point percentages, but he's not doing anything humongous for him.
No, he's just making the contribution that I believe that he should be making. Like he doesn't want to be that. I don't. In my opinion, he obviously doesn't want to be that like playmaker like Giannis is. Like
And
you can only have so much on the team before it kind of just gets out of hand.
And like I said, he's what we like to call a glue guy. He's what brings that team together necessarily.
Yeah.
Just as much as Malcolm Brogdon is. You don't ever hear about Malcolm Brogdon, the former Rookie of the Year.
Say, literally, everyone totally forgot about him. Like literally after he got MVP.
It's MVP, Rookie of the Year.
Or I'm sorry, Rookie of the Year.
But no one ever hears about him, right? He's still averaging 15 points per game. He's still averaging 5 rebounds, 3 assists. 50% field goal percentage, 44% 3-point percentage, 98% free throw percentage. That's crazy. That's crazy good. No one ever hears about that, though. You always think about Giannis, which is great. Like I said, anyone who can jump over a man to dunk the ball is obviously going to be considered.
You're going to mention any names.
Yeah. Obviously, he's going to be looked at as being something extraordinary. But it's to that point, you got to think about everyone else who's around him, who surrounds him. You can't have one man on a team. The only man who could ever lead a team to a victory in the finals is Dirk Nowitzki. Mark my words. As much as LeBron James has tried, he has never been able to do it. So you gotta think about all those other guys, though.
I think I don't know though. Do you think that Eric Bledsoe is as looked at as much as you think?
Oh yeah, Eric Bledsoe is definitely on the radar. I think ever since what happened at the Suns when he said I want out, which might have been kind of dumb, but he got out. I think ever since that happened, he's been under the radar of players people still check out and still watch and still want to see really succeed.
We're gonna talk about Golden State, our fourth and last topic, but sadly we were actually out of time. I'm just gonna wrap it up with Golden State, with just them in general and their troubles and stuff. And sadly, we're not gonna be able to actually get into depth with it, but they're definitely a little inconsistent with their games and stuff. But yeah.
We'll get into it next episode on this, and basically that's all we got for today. Make sure you check out the channel, Two Boys Gaming.
Definitely, I'll be putting up some videos definitely after this podcast. So be sure to go on T Mills Productions. And also, I am changing it back to my original name, NBA is Underrated. So just to make sure that newcomers, you guys know that it's gonna be a different name. But definitely, I'll be uploading very shortly after this. So if you want to just tell your friends and come check out my page.
Yeah,
Peace
like,
out.
sub, and subscribe, guys. Come on, let's go.